Chris, where are you and what are you seeing? Oh, here he is, right here.
Sharon and Eric, we are at 2nd and Pershing here, just right next to the Peterson Paper Company. You can see the water grows very quickly. There are dumpsters in the water. We do know just on the other side of the Peterson Paper Company, there are people on that roof trying to get away from the water. We do know there are also several rescue boats out near the Arsenal Bridge behind Peterson Paper Company making rescues of people who were in the cars. I talked to one person just about 10 minutes ago who told me that he was down here sandbagging, trying to keep the water from coming up any further, and that barrier broke. Nicole Gleason, the Public Works Director from the City of Davenport, told me also that they believe the pressure from all the water on the other side of the barriers is what caused this barrier to break, sending all this water here into the downtown area. Multiple fire crews here on scene. We know at least 2 rescue boats are in the water. The building just next to the Peterson Paper Company, we saw 7 people be rescued from that building just about 10 minutes ago. They had to be pulled out of the building by firefighters and then boated across 2nd Street here and then moved off of the boat by firefighters in cold water rescue gear. This water is very deep. It is cold. Nicole Gleason said that this is a very frantic situation down here. She also said that there's a lot of unknowns about what is going to happen with these barriers. We do know that these barriers have never seen water higher than 21 foot. We are expected to have a crest higher than that. But again, people down here in downtown Davenport are being told to stay away from this area. You can see a lot of people coming out of their businesses trying to find out exactly what is going on. I do see Nicole Gleason right now, and I'm going to see if I can get any more information from her right now.
Hey,
One
Chris.
second, guys. Okay, we are actually being told to move by Davenport Police, but I'm going to see if I can grab Nicole. Hey, Nicole. Okay, thank you. She is actually trying to get some more information. Police are asking us to move back, so we are going to send this back to you in the studio and move back for our safety and everybody else's safety down here.
Hey, we're going to go back to Chris Carter right now. So, Chris, take it away.
Hey guys, we are at 2nd and Pershing, where there is currently a water rescue, as you are seeing, happening live here. These people being taken out of the boat by the Davenport Fire Department. This is just one of at least 2 boats that we know are on the water right now. It looks like probably 6 or 7 people being taken off of that boat here at 2nd and Pershing after the barrier broke just about 45 minutes ago. According to Nicole Gleason with the City of Davenport, she's the Public Works Director, she says that the pressure from the water broke the barrier, causing it to give way. Sarah Jones actually just interviewed a couple of business owners here, so I'm going to hand the mic off to her and let her describe what those business owners told her just a few minutes ago.
Or Chris Carter, he has Mayor Frank Klipsch with him now in downtown Davenport with another.
All right, guys, we are still here at 2nd and Pershing, where we have been for about the last 90 minutes. I'm now joined by Davenport Mayor Frank Klipsch, who came back early from vacation, coming back to this worst-case scenario for you. Explain what's happening right now.
Well, obviously, what we're seeing here is a challenge and very devastating for a lot of the people that live and work in this particular area. It's about a 3-block area, and fortunately, most of all the HESCO barriers are still solidly in place at this point, but we're monitoring those. It's been an extremely long period of time for those HESCO barriers to be up. That's longer than usual. It's like typically a high-grade sandbagging process. So you figure they're up for a long period of time. They're not designed as a permanent fix, and they just wore away in this particular location. And we were monitoring them and doing what we could, but all of a sudden it breached, and that was the challenge we faced. And it came around to this, again, this corner of the downtown part of the area here. We, fortunately, our fire and police departments, but all of our emergency management folks are working hard to make sure everybody is safe. And it's an evacuation. Most of them, fortunately, weren't in any life-changing danger or life potentially risk situation. But they're surrounded by water, and they're in their some of homes, their businesses, and we're working with them now to make sure we can protect and save as much as we possibly can of that as well.
We know several people were evacuated. Do you know, have those evacuations finished, and it's everybody out of the homes where there is, or in businesses where there's water?
Well, they're out of them, but we're working with individuals to make sure if they have certain pets or equipment or whatever on the lower levels, we're making sure that that's taken care of as well. So from a life-saving standpoint, that has all been taken care of. We haven't found anybody that's in any dire need from a life safety perspective. But now we're really looking at, are there ways that we can help them with their businesses or their homes get the things that they need out, and then work with the Red Cross and other organizations to make they have temporary housing, but in the long run make sure that we provide all the support we possibly can.
Obviously, this is devastating for the people that live down here. The people that live down here are not going to be able to return home. Are there shelters set up at this point that you know of for those people to go?
Well, they're being worked on right now. This came about so quickly, but fortunately, between the Emergency Management Administration, who we're actively involved with, all of that group, plus the Salvation Army, like you said, or the American Red Cross, all of them are actively ready to go. And our team all came together. I've got calls from both our federal and state legislators wanting to help in any way they can. I actually got a call from the White House that they saw this the challenge. What can we do? If there's anything they can do. So I think everybody's ready to help in any way we can. The issue is right now we've got a great team. Our public safety people are phenomenal. They're doing their job and acted extremely quickly. There's no life danger issues involved, and now we're really working on trying to mitigate any of the disaster issues that they're facing with their residences or place of business or their homes. And there's very few in this particular area. We want to make sure that it stays isolated to this area and doesn't any have other problems along the way. We'll have people monitoring the HESCO barriers all through the night and up the area, just as we've been doing for some time, to make sure the rest of the city is still in good position.
We know this happened very quickly and it came up very quickly. How much further up, or have you heard how much further up is the water expected to go?
Well, I think what you're seeing here is this is it. Unless we have a higher flood lifting, the crest going up higher than this. People are saying, well, it's going here, it's going to keep trailing. Well, the fact is, it still goes down river from here. So if it's open, what we're getting from the river is what we're getting from the river here. So I think the idea here is protect what we can further downstream from here, the rest of the city, monitor the HESCO barriers and the protection we have there, make sure they stay in place, and then do the best we can here as quickly as possible. They had a call from the commander of the Corps of Engineers. They're ready to give us any help they can, both on any other protection issues, but whatever they need to do. So we've got a lot of people, and it's a great example of what the Midwest is all about. Everybody jumps on board to find out what they can do, and fortunately, no lives were lost. Fortunately, it was an evacuation issue and no life danger issues that we had to deal with, and I think that's important. Now it's a matter of make sure the people can get back in there as quickly as possible, and we're going to help them save as much as they can along the way until that happens.
Are there the evacuations that you're referring to are the ones that you guys did, or are there other evacuations in place for surrounding areas at this time?
No, it's just for this area right here.
Okay.
We've been working all along, like for instance, the Garden Addition typically has problems. We've been monitoring that, pumps and people checking that all along, and if it gets to that point where it somehow would get worse, then we would let them know. But right now, everybody the rest of the way have been told well in advance. This sudden breach here is what really caused some of this immediate concern. It's been rising for some time, and again, that's part of the issue when we're looking at approaching record flood levels, and it's been up for a long time. And today, one thing that added to the dimension, the increased powerful rains that we had today, were coming down the hill, pushing on one side, and then we had the river pushing on the other side, and it exacerbated that problem, and that made it even worse for us today.
Mayor, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking the time for talking with us.
Thank you.
As you guys just heard here from Mayor Frank Klipsch with the City of Davenport, the good news in all of this is everybody has been evacuated that needs to be evacuated. All of the people that were evacuated were not injured. There were no injuries in this situation here as that breach took place here at 2nd and Pershing. We do know that the City of Davenport has received calls from the federal government, including the White House, offering assistance. Mayor Klipsch says they are working on getting any sort of shelters in place for the people that were evacuated down here. We're continuing to gather more information, and we will have that for you as soon as we get it. We will send it back to you guys in the studio. Hi, David and Paula. This is where a lot of that action is. I'm going to step right out of the way and show you exactly what we are seeing. You can see the Davenport rescue boat along with the cold water suit crews out here. They have been making rescues all day since this barrier breached. We do know there is good news that everybody has been evacuated that needed to be evacuated. There were no injuries. Mayor Frank Klipsch says that they have the Mid-American crews are on scene to try and shut the power off to all of these buildings. That is their biggest concern right now. We do know that the federal government, including calls from the White House, have been made to Davenport city leaders to offer assistance if needed. Klipsch says that this happened really quickly. Mayor Frank Klipsch says this happened very quickly. We are told that the pressure from the water is what forced the barriers to break. We did just talk to two people. The water rescue crews are actually boating people back into their lofts here at the Peterson Paper Company, allowing them to give overnight bags to then go somewhere else. Klipsch told us about 35 minutes ago that you saw live here on TV6 that they were going to be trying to set up shelters for these people. Also, kind of over here to our right, you can see a assembly line of people working to put barriers up, those sandbag barriers. That's 2nd Street in front of Exit Realty. So if you're familiar with this area, it's just next to Bucktown Center for the Arts, where there is an assembly line of sandbags being put up right now. Dozens of people out there working to put that water or those bags up to keep that water from spreading down 2nd Street at this point. But again, in all of this, no one was hurt. We do know that the Mid-American crews are out here working to shut off that power. We have been monitoring this situation for going on almost 2 hours now, and we are continuing to monitor the situation, and we will, of course, update you with any new updates as soon as we get them. But for now, we are going to send it back to you. I'm Chris Carter. Back to you.
Some construction may be going on there, Chris.
Yeah, first I want to show you what I'm seeing here to give you an idea of just how deep this water is. You're looking at those fire crews actually standing in the middle of 2nd Street and purging. The water here appears to be about waist high where those two firefighters are. And as we kind of pan over here to our right, we do know that the Davenport police chief just arrived here on the scene. And then as we go down towards River Drive, down Perry towards River Drive, there appears to be some sort of construction. Now, we don't know exactly what is happening here, but where you see that equipment is where that breach took place. Now, we've seen sand being brought down that area. We don't know if that sand is being tried to be put back in the barriers or what is exactly happening, but they are appearing to be doing some sort of construction work down there along the River Drive where that barrier was. Now, when this barrier broke, there were people in all of these businesses in their homes. They had to be rescued from them. I've talked to several of them. Let's listen to some sound from one of those as they described what happened as they were evacuated.
I could say I'm pretty annoyed by it. I mean, certainly it's inconvenient not being able to go home properly, you know, what with all the flooding here, and particularly kind of seems like with the past couple of days as they are now trying to reinforce the wall, and I don't know exactly what happened, but it definitely didn't hold and didn't do a very good job.
Has this been a worry for you as you've seen the water continue to rise?
So far, not especially, particularly in a couple days ago, it seemed like it was going on the way down, and even though they mentioned that it was going up, it so far hadn't seemed to be a big issue. But the fact that at least the other day when I saw them adding more onto the wall, it's kind of like, I'm getting a little nervous about it.
Yeah. And that has seemed to be the consensus of most people down here as they have watched this river rise and drop and then rise again to near record levels. We do know that the barriers here have never been tested at this level. The 21 feet is the highest they've ever been tested. The city of Davenport said they were worried about this morning during a news conference, and obviously that worry came true today. We do know that everybody has been evacuated from the area. There were no injuries, and we do know that the White House, along with the federal government, has offered their assistance to the city of Davenport as we continue to deal with this situation that is presumably going to be going on for quite a few days as this water begins to recede and we see more rain in the forecast, as you've heard Eric be mentioning over the last couple of hours. We're continuing to gather more information and we'll pass it along to you guys. But for now, I'm Chris Carter. Back to you.
Chris Carter is downtown Davenport right now with the latest for us. Chris, where are you at this point?
We are still at 2nd and Pershing right now here. there is a much smaller presence than there was when we got here at 4 o'clock. There are still some fire units here. The rescue boats are still in the water here, but we do know that everybody has been evacuated. A lot of bystanders who have come out just to see what exactly is going on down here at 2nd and Pershing. Nicole Gleason, who's the public works director, said that the pressure from the river is what caused this barrier to breach. We did talk to some people who said that the water has started to kind of seep down 2nd Street a little bit further, which is to be expected as the sandbags go up here. I do want to draw your attention, though, if Kevin, my photographer, can kind of pan down to the end of the parking lot here where we are standing. You can see how high that water was at the highest point after this breach. It has actually started to go back down. You can see that debris line there on the pavement. So that is obviously some good news that this water is not continuing to rise here at 2nd and Pershing. Everybody who lives in the Peterson Paper Company or in the lofts downtown in this area, it's a 3-block radius that's impacted, have been allowed to go back inside and get an overnight bag. But again, if you are coming downtown, you're going to want to avoid this area. Several roads are completely underwater, and there are a lot of road closures, but multiple city crews, city employees down here working to assess the situation and determine the next steps here in preventing this further breaches on the HESCO barriers that are put across through downtown. We're continuing to monitor that situation, and we will update you as we get it. But for now, I'm Chris Carter. Back to you.